Nikki, you must be over the moon, huh?
Oh, over the moon is an absolute understatement. I'm thrilled, Joe. Absolutely thrilled.
And you haven't even got a glass of wine to celebrate?
Here it is.
Good stuff.
And I wish you had one with me as well. We'd all be celebrating together.
Have a sip for us.
I will. Yeah.
And so explain for us how tough the last 4 years have been.
Yeah, look, it's been really tough. My business actually exported around 95% of all of my wines went to China.
Wow.
And so could you imagine overnight that went down to 5%. So for the last 4 years, I've been having to completely restructure my business. And now could you imagine opening up into China again? It's an absolute blessing. It's an absolute blessing, not just for me, but I think the whole industry.
And how challenging has it been for you to find new markets and mould your business to the circumstances of the last 4 years?
Yeah, look, it's actually been quite tricky. So what I did to start off with, I thought that I'd be able to export some other types of products to China because I speak fluent Mandarin. I've been working with China for over 20 years. I thought it was actually going to be a relatively simple process just to, change products, but that was actually not what I found. Yeah. And so what I did, I immediately came back to the domestic market and really focused hard on trying to build my brand and selling wines into restaurants and different channels here. But if you can remember, the same thing, we had COVID at the same time. So most of my, restaurants were closed, bars were closed, everything. Wow. So not only did I lose China, I also lost my domestic market as well. So, but there's positive news in all of this. And I think it's been a really interesting learning curve for me and running a business is that that need to diversify. So now my business is actually quite in a fantastically healthy shape with or without China. So, I've got a strong domestic market. I've got other export markets. I've built a cellar door, which I'm in right now in Port Melbourne, and I've got online sales and I've got distribution in other states as well. So I think, now that I've got all of these wonderful building blocks in place, plus China, I think, the business is just hopefully going to go, full steam ahead.
Yeah, and it must have been such a wonderful learning curve for you and a vote in your own confidence to know that you could adapt like in a really challenging situation like that, instead of like throwing your hands up in the air and kind of saying I'm defeated, finding different ways to keep profitable.
Yeah, look, it's an interesting thing. There's certainly been some very, difficult moments, and not when I throw my hands in the air, but certainly a lot of moments where I've had to do a lot of soul searching.
Yeah.
But what it comes down to, I actually love wine. I love the wine industry. I love the people in it. And I really think that, we've got such a great product here in Australia to export to different markets. And if you look at the consumers, they love our wine. So, I think it's, if I was in an industry that I wasn't so passionate about, maybe I would have thrown my hands up and done something else. But who doesn't love wine? It's such a great industry. So I think that's what kept me going.
Yeah, it comes naturally to you, obviously. But I'm just interested, and we'll go on with the wine in a moment, but I'm just interested, you said you tried to export a few other things to China. You had Mandarin, you thought that might be easy. What were the few other product lines that you went down?
Yeah, well, I thought because I'm in alcohol and my customers all are in alcohol as well, I thought, well, let's just try spirits. So initially I started making some gin, I made vodka, I had a little bit of brandy as well. And so I did have some success in those products and I was exporting them a little bit. But I think what happened, unfortunately, it wasn't just the tariffs that were on wine. There was also some unofficial trade barriers. And I think for a lot of products, regardless of wine being exported from Australia to China, they all struggled in that period of time. Yeah. And so in the end, I think a lot of my customers, they felt that it was probably too difficult, too tricky. And they just, it didn't really take. So, that's when I just thought, well, I just have to, say goodbye to China for these years and really focus on other businesses and other channels.
So just wait, out the back room, how many different production lines have you got there with making all those different things? Or do you just put liquid down the same process and you come out with different spirits at the end of it?
It's like waving a magic wand, isn't it?
But it was, so you were able to suddenly turn to those other products.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, because I guess I The one thing about the Chinese market, and having worked in China for so long, is that there's a feeling, a sense that you can do anything.
Yeah.
And so I just thought, well, wine. Well, let's just go to the next product. Let's try gin. Let's try other things. So I just tried my hand at anything. But to be honest with you, wine is my passion. So,
Yeah.
but I am making other things now. Looking at other products like limoncello, other things like that as well. So
Unstoppable. And so so now that you've got this news just in the last hour or so, how soon do you think you're going to be able to be exporting back into China?
Yeah, well, I'm hoping within the month, because I've been actually preparing for the China opening for the last 6 months or so. As soon as the review started 5 months ago, I started putting all the building blocks into place. And, I've had actually a lot of customers fly out from China already to meet with me to discuss the way forward, because it's like not just the Australians and, wine producers like myself are super excited. It's our customers in China as well. They've been waiting for the last 3 years to be able to bring our wines back in as well. So I'm hoping...
The product is that good, huh?
Oh, well, I think so. I think so. Well, I think, Australian wine it's just, look, it's quite unique. What the feedback that I was getting from some of my customers was, look, we tried Italian wine, we tried Spanish wine, we tried French wine, but there's nothing beats Australian wine. So, I think that's a sentiment that we're really finding. So I'm hoping within the next month, containers on the water and off we go again.
Good stuff. And so in our stories this evening, we've mentioned a couple of challenges that still exist, and that's global oversupply. And the price, so the prices aren't great at the moment. Have you got to factor those in?
Yeah, I think, what's been really interesting talking to my customers is that although there's global oversupply, and you would assume that therefore there's a lot of cheaper wine out there, my customers are actually saying no, they want to maintain that high quality wine, either a really good quality sort of affordable wine or mid to premium. And what I'm finding even more interesting is that the market in China has changed since we were last there. Just like everywhere else in the world. So, but in particular China, I'm finding that they're looking for different types of varietals of grapes. Things like Nebbiolo, things like Pinot Noir, varietals that they've never really wanted from Australia before. So I think that there will be a real opportunity for more, not just the entry, not just mid, but premium as well into China, which is just fantastic. It really shows a development of the market.
And I don't know if this is commercial in confidence and you can't go into it, but can you give us an idea of what the volume of wine you were exporting to China previously, and what you hope to get back up to now?
Yeah, so previously I was doing 200 containers a year to China, so that's 200,000 cases a year to China.
Wow.
It was quite big, but what I don't expect that to come back overnight. What I'm hoping is anticipating maybe a third back initially within the next 12 months or so. Although that said, I've had a lot of inquiries, so people are really keen. So I anticipate that we'll have maybe a big surge to begin with, like to fill the pipeline. It might then slow, and then we'll see a gradual increase going from there. Because, just like everywhere else in the world, the Chinese market has slowed as well. The economy's slowed there, just like it has here. So, but, let's see what happens.